All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first meeting of our new President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. I'm Holli Richmond, the Executive Director of the Council. I'd like to welcome all of our guests who are here in person, as well as those tuning in to live stream. Thank you all for joining us. Your presence and support is very much appreciated. We encourage all meeting attendees to share your photos and thoughts via social media, as Lauren mentioned. And if you're on Twitter, please be sure to follow @FitnessGov and tweet throughout the meeting. Due to the limited amount of time for today's meeting, we will not have the opportunity to take questions from the audience, but if you do have any questions, we encourage you to send them to fitness@hhs.gov. So now we will call the meeting to order and conduct the roll call. When I call your name, please indicate for the record that you are present. Misty May Trainer. Absent. Mariano Rivera. Present. Herschel Walker. Present. Brenda Becker. Present. Bill Belichick. Absent.
Present.
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 Johnny Damon. Absent. Trevor Drinkwater. Present. Lou Ferrigno. Absent. Robert Goldman. Present. Nan Hayworth. Present. Matthew Hess.
Present.
Present. Ashley Lundvall. Present. Thank you. Jacob Olson.
Present.
Present. Mehmet Oz.
Present. By the way, Holly, this music playing, you should know that it's hard for us to hear on the phone.
Thank you for that. Natalie Golbus. Present. Shauna Robot.
Present.
Present. Kyle Snyder.
Present.
Present. Julie Tier.
Present.
Present. Chris Teasy.
Present.
Present. Robert Wilkins. Present. Jim Worthington. Present. Linda Gaccarino. Present. Thank you. All right, I would like to thank each of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us here in DC for our inaugural council meeting. We have a full agenda planned for you, and throughout the day we'll hear from the administration officials, your new co-chairs, and some amazing young athletes about the powerful and positive impact that sports can have in the lives of youth. We'll also have the opportunity to deliberate and discuss our new priority to increase access and participation in youth sports. This new council brings many exciting changes to our mission and work that you'll hear throughout the day. And to start us off, I am honored to invite Secretary Azar to the stage. Alex Azar was sworn in as President Trump's Secretary of Health and Human Services in January of this year. The Department of Health and Human Services is the largest cabinet department in the federal government by spending, with a budget of $1.2 trillion in 2018. It is charged with enhancing and protecting the health and well-being of all Americans, and the department encompasses not just health care programs such as Medicare and Medicaid, but also scientific institutions such as CDC, NIH, and FDA, and human services programs at the Administration for Children and Families, and preparedness and response work to protect Americans from natural disasters, infectious disease, and other threats. Secretary Azar has spent his career working in senior health care, and his current tenure at HHS is a second tour of duty at the department. He served as HHS's general counsel from 2001 to 2005, and then as deputy secretary, the department's #2 official and chief operating officer. During his time as deputy secretary, Azar played key roles in international affairs and global health diplomacy, implementation of the new Medicare prescription drug program, public health emergency preparedness and response efforts, and food and drug regulation. He has also led the department through several successful management and operational transformations, and Secretary Azar rejoined the private sector in 2007, moving to Indiana with his wife and their 2 children. And it is my pleasure today to introduce to you the 24th United States Secretary of Health and Human Services, Alex Azar.
Well, Holly, thank you very much, and thanks to everybody who's involved in supporting today's important event. Most of all, I want to thank everybody who has joined the council. This is a humbling experience for me to be with all of you. I have now almost 20 years working with the President's Council, and I can tell you this is the most impressive group of athletic, sports, fitness, business, and healthcare leaders that we have ever had on this commission, as well as the exciting new mission that we have for the commission. And I know from our past interactions how excited all of you are to get to work, so I will hopefully not delay you too long in you all taking that task on. I also congratulate you because your presence here means that you have succeeded in the most difficult professional and athletic challenge of your life, which was completing the government ethics forms. For that and for your patience, I, on behalf of the American people, extend my deepest gratitude. For more than 6 decades, since President Eisenhower started the President's Council on Youth Fitness in 1956, dedicated, accomplished citizens like yourselves have volunteered their time, energy, and expertise to serve on this important committee. The name and mission of the Council have changed over the last 60-plus years, but there's been one constant: the need for individuals like you to give generously of your time to improve the health of all Americans, especially our youth. By being physically active and participating in sports, youth can build stronger bones and muscles, improve their cardiorespiratory fitness, control their weight, and reduce their risk of developing chronic, lifelong health conditions. Other benefits can include forming positive relationships, better social interaction, improved teamwork skills, character development, more self-confidence, and reduced anxiety and depression. There's no better time to be thinking about how we can improve the social and mental health of our children, because there are some very worrying trends indeed. Data produced by HHS has found that the number of young adults who experience depression or suicidal thoughts has been rising at an alarming rate over the past several years. Suicidal thoughts, for instance, are up 50% from 2008 to 2017. We're also seeing steady increases in the use of marijuana and other substances among teenage boys and girls. We've got to attack these troubling trends from all angles, and one of them can be involvement in the positive activities of sports. While evidence shows that a majority of youth would like to play more sports, unfortunately participation, especially in minority populations, has declined. According to the Aspen Institute, 53.2% of American youth participated in individual sports in 2011. For team sports, there was a 41.5% participation rate. In 2016, 5 years later, those numbers were down to 49.8% and 36.9% respectively, several percentage point decline in just 5 years. Only 55% of females participated in a sports team or lesson versus 62% of their male counterparts. Only 34% of parents with less than a high school education participated in a sports team or lesson, compared with 73% of children whose parents have college degrees or higher. There are also large disparities in participation for youth with disabilities. Only 21.6% of 6 to 19-year-old children and adolescents met the recommended 60 minutes of daily physical activity. Physical inactivity has increased our youth's risk for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and other negative health outcomes. The Trump administration clearly recognizes the benefits of youth sports participation and physical activity in creating healthy habits and improving the overall health of the American people. That's why this past February, President Trump issued an executive order detailing the administration's aim to expand and encourage youth sports participation. Your charge, as part of the President's Council, is to work with us at HHS to develop a national strategy to expand children's participation in youth sports and encourage regular physical activity. In working toward developing this national youth sports strategy, I'm pleased to announce that our Office of Minority Health will soon be issuing a new grant opportunity. These grants, totaling $2.5 million, will help communities expand opportunities for sports participation where none or few currently exist, particularly in socioeconomically disadvantaged areas, rural communities, and for young girls and people with disabilities. The grant program is just one tangible sign of this administration's commitment to expanding access to youth sports. I can tell you this is something that I've talked about with the President, talked about with senior leaders in the White House, where the importance of sports to raising happy, healthy young people is not only well understood, but reflects a deep personal commitment of the President. So thank you for your ongoing contributions toward that effort. Thank you for your generosity with your time. Thank you for filling out forms. And I'm so excited that you get to do what you all have been chomping at the bit to do, which is to get to work. So thank you so much for being here, and I wish you the best at today's session. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Secretary Azar. Your presence today is so important, and we look forward to continuing to provide you and the department the full support of the President's Council. So as you just heard from the Secretary, the Council has some monumental plans for the future to include the critical task of developing a national strategy to expand youth sports participation. I am looking forward to leading the Council staff and members in creating more opportunities for youth to live healthy and active lives through sports. I'd like to take this opportunity to officially introduce myself and share my passion for our mission. I'm truly honored to have been sworn in as the Executive Director of the Council in March, and to this position I'm bringing my lifetime commitment and enthusiasm for active living and my experience as a Marine. Through my life experiences and service to this country, I understand how vital and yet fragile the health of our nation can be. I watched as several close family members develop potentially life-threatening obesity-related diseases, to include type 2 diabetes, a lifetime on medications, triple bypass surgery, and gastric bypass surgery. And I know that the safety and longevity of our nation depends on having men and women that are healthy enough to serve. The starting point to impact our collective health is not at health care. It's in preventative care, and it starts with what and how we teach our youth about developing healthier lifestyles. Sports can serve as a platform for the healthy development of our youth in so many ways, and of course participating in sports supports the healthy physical development and physical literacy of youth. But they also do so much more. Sports are more than scores on a game board or physical achievements. Sports participation can lead to higher levels of self-esteem, a more positive body image, and higher states of psychological well-being. Our fields, gyms, courts can all provide environments to learn and exercise positive values, including perseverance, commitment, leadership, teamwork, effective communication, problem solving, and conflict management. Many of America's leaders attribute their lifetime achievements to lessons learned through sports participation and athletic activity. This is why I'm pushing full speed ahead on our progressive agenda on youth sports. The past 6 months have really allowed me to firmly plant my feet in this space, and I'm happy to share with all of you some of the work that we've already begun. But first, I do feel that it's important to note that generally sports participation is declining. And in 2008, 45% of all students between the ages of 6 and 12 participated in athletics. Now that participation is down to 37%. But what's really alarming are the vast inequities that exist when it comes to all youth having access to sports. The nation as a whole provides its girls, youth with disabilities, and youth from disadvantaged communities the fewest opportunities to play. And we cannot continue to allow economic disadvantages, gender, and unique abilities to be barriers for our youth to play and grow through sports. So we've updated a mission to better reflect our strong belief in the power of sports and supporting our youth as they grow into healthy adults and future leaders. Our mission is now to increase sports participation among youth of all backgrounds and abilities, and also to promote health and active lifestyles for all Americans. And I'd like to emphasize the all, because every kid deserves an opportunity to experience the benefits of playing sports. And I'm extremely thankful that the Council has the full support of the administration as we prepare to pour our energy into breaking down the barriers that are keeping kids out of the game. In support of this priority, the White House hosted our first ever Sports and Fitness Day in May, where more than 250 kids with diverse backgrounds, to include those with disabilities, were invited to come out and participate in drills for 6 different sports. And as Secretary Azar mentioned, we've consulted with the Office of Minority Health on a $2.5 million funding opportunity to help communities create and expand opportunities for disadvantaged youth, girls, and children with disabilities to participate in sports programs. And we will be reaching far and wide to advance this priority, because sports are a global phenomenon that impact and bring together people of all ages and cultures. And creating the best solutions to activate our youth can be strengthened by working with other leaders from around the world. So we have strengthened our partnership with SIGA. They're actually here in the audience today. And we'll be working collaboratively to promote positive values, as well as support good governance, integrity, and transparency in sport. And I recently had the privilege of presenting to SIGA, convening of international leaders of business and government, including ministers of sport, to address some of the most challenging and pressing issues facing the government and integrity of sport globally. So we have Emmanuel Medeiros, who is the CEO of SIGA, as well as Maggie Murphy, the Director for Public Policy and Sport Integrity, here with us today, who have traveled very far to be here. So on behalf of the President's Council, thank you for coming and thank you for your support. And to our many other partners here today and listening in, thank you as well. I've also had the opportunity to learn how our I Can Do It program model is impacting the lives and children and adults with a disability every day. I Can Do It is a customizable model that helps schools and community organizations implement inclusive health promotion programs for individuals with a disability. I Can Do It offers free resources to organizations across the country on our website at fitness.gov. We have really gotten the ball rolling over the past 6 months to include establishing new collaborations and partnerships that will be instrumental in advancing our new mission. I know the unique talents and skills of each of our council members, that what each of their skills and their unique skills brings to the table. And they will truly make a difference in the healthy and active development of America's youth. Additionally, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the hard work of our President's Council staff members. A huge thank you goes to my Deputy Director, Shannon, and our team, Joey, Lauren, Ebony, Annette, Kate, Felix, as well as our intern, Brandon. Please join me in giving them a round of applause. So I am constantly amazed by how such a small team can manage everything that the council undertakes on a daily basis. And they remind me every day of the power of teamwork. They really do. So allow me to introduce and welcome our co-chairs, Mariano Rivera and Herschel Walker, to the stage for a Team Captain Huddle. All right, we're going to have you guys come up here. So first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our co-chairs quickly. So Mariano here is a former professional baseball player who played 19 seasons with the New York Yankees. After a breakthrough season in 1996, as a setup man, he became the Yankees closer in 1997 and went on to become the game's all-time leader in regular season saves with 652 saves. Mariano also excelled in the postseason. He is a 5-time World Series champion and holds the record for the lowest earned run average and most postseason saves with 42. Since retiring in 2013, Mariano has used the same determination that made him one of the best pitchers in baseball to dedicate time to philanthropic causes through his foundation, the Mariano Rivera Foundation. So welcome, Mariano.
Thank you, Holli.
And I should know this by heart since I speak to them so often, but there's so many numbers, I know that I would mess it up. So, and as I'm sure all of you are aware, we have Herschel Walker here with us. Herschel is a former professional football player who played 12 seasons in the NFL for some of the most storied franchises. You have the Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings, Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants. Before becoming a 2-time Pro Bowler, though, Herschel had a legendary collegiate football career. He was a 3-time All-American in football and track. He is the only player to finish in the top 3 in the Heisman voting in all of the years he played, and of course, winner of the 1982 Heisman. Additionally, he helped the Bulldogs win a national championship, is a member of the Collegiate Football Hall of Fame, and is one of the 20 players in the history of college football to rush over 5,000 collegiate career yards despite only playing 3 years. He now serves as the president and chief executive officer of H. Walker Enterprises, LLC, and Renaissance Man Food Services, LLC. And in 1992, went to the Winter Olympics where he competed on the United States bobsled team. So welcome, Herschel. And our third co-chair is 3-time Olympic gold medalist and retired professional volleyball player Misty May Trainer. Unfortunately, Misty could not be here with us today, but we're excited to have this opportunity for Herschel and Mariano to share a little bit about their own experiences and personal stories. So during this Team Captain Huddle, we'll get into detail more about Mariano and Herschel's passion for sports and interest in helping more kids learn and grow through sports. So, gentlemen, let's get started. Sports have played a huge role in both of your lives. So what are some of the greatest impacts that you can tell everyone about here today that you know sports to have had on your own lives?
Well, I mean, since I had the opportunity to come here and play one of the best sport there is in the United States, baseball, not football, baseball, and a big part of the organization that allowed me to play for 19 years, actually 24 total, allowed me to be a better person, a better husband, better neighbor, and with that challenged me to do the same with others. I always have the driving to help others. It don't matter what age, but help others. And that to me is, I had to take it because I mean, the opportunity that someone gave me. And I always wanted to give back because I mean, growing up, I didn't have nothing basically, broke. But a heart full of dreams and desire to do something better. And the Lord allowed me to come here and express and do what He gave me a talent and an opportunity to be different. So that's what the sport to me has been impacting.
Thank you.
Well, you know, I was born a little bit overweight. My mom told me I was big bone, and but you know, I was born overweight. I used to have a speech impediment, and I had very, very low self-esteem of myself. And I tell everyone that I'm living sacrifice of what we're trying to do right now, because I was very fortunate that my parents always encouraged me to always look up. But I had a coach that he would come pick me up on Sundays after church, and we started working out. And from working out and getting my self-esteem up, I was able to overcome a lot of things. I became valedictorian in my class. I became an athlete. And one of the things that I'm so proud to be a part of the President Council is I'm not trying to build athletes, but I'm trying to make kids active, because I do know the health benefits in kids being active, but not make America active. Because people like Mario and the council members, I think we know that kids that are active perform better. And in my life, I've performed better at a lot of things because of athletics. And I'm not trying to say all kids need to be athletes. I think all kids need to be active. So that's the reason I'm just so happy to be a part of the council.
Great, thank you both for that. And based on what you've seen and what you've experienced, and a little bit from what you've shared with us just now, what are key components of sports that you wish that every child could experience through sports?
I think the key component that child is I like to see college be able to communicate. I think in sports, athletes are able to communicate and to get along with others. I think that's one of the biggest problems I think we have with young kids today is their communication level. We were very fortunate yesterday to go to the youth baseball academy, and I was very excited that I saw young men and women that they looked at me and they spoke to me, and you don't see that. And I think that's what sports does. That's what I think activity does, is give kids a chance to express themselves and be able to get along. And I think that's one of the things I think for myself that I was able to develop. You know, coming from a small town in South Georgia, being able to travel the world and be able to get along with someone that may speak a different language, someone that may be a different color, someone that may be totally different than me. I think through activities and sports, I was able to communicate and we be on the same level.
Yeah, and also one of the big things is a self-esteem. You know, the kids now, since they don't want to be on the fields, they just want to be home playing Nintendo and all that stuff. When they come out, they don't feel secure. They don't feel like they can do things, especially in sport. You know, I don't know how to do it, and sport creates that security, that self-esteem that you need to be to compete with others, and not only to compete, but to respect others. You know, not trying to be, although sport is competing and trying to do better and win, basically, but at the same time, just be there and being able to do it as a teamwork. It means a lot, and that's what sport offers.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about some of the benefits of sport and what we think kids would benefit from sport. So what were the barriers that you faced in playing sports? Mariano, I know that you came from a very small village in Panama, and then Herschel, you and I have had this conversation of how you've also faced adversity. So can you explain what the barriers were and how you overcame them?
Well, I mean, Holly, my barrier was big time was the language. You know, I mean, coming from Panama, I didn't know nothing of Spanish. I mean, English. I mean, everything was just Spanish, and I never left the country of Panama until I was 20 years old. So when I came here, English was nowhere to be found in me. So I remember I started my career in Tampa, Florida, and believe it or not, most of the people there, or my teammates, spoke Spanish. So I was okay. I was happy with it. But my following year was in North Carolina, where not too many people were speaking Spanish. So I used to remember that I used to cry not because the game, but I wasn't able to communicate. And communicate in sport is you need to have it. But I push myself, and that's what sport does. It makes you better, and I push myself to learn the language, and I only surround myself with people that will teach me. I told my teammates, I said, man, I don't care how much do you laugh, as long as you teach me the right way. And actually, they never laugh, and they always teach me. So that, to me, was the barrier that I need to cross so I can be better. And after I did that, my career just took off.
So you talked about your barriers coming to America, but what were some of the barriers that you had that you faced growing up in Panama? I know you told me some really neat stories, so I think that it's important for them to hear.
Well, when you have lack of, I would say, resources or monetary issues, you have to be creative. You know, and we didn't have none of that stuff. We didn't have money. I mean, I came from a family, father and a mother. My father was a fisherman. Mother stayed home, take care of the kids, and we were 4. I'm the oldest of the 3 boys. And baseball was my passion, a sport, but baseball was everything. So we didn't have much. We didn't have baseball. We didn't have or baseball equipment, perhaps. baseball, we have old clothes, wrap it up with tape, you know. So one thing that we got in trouble was just tapes. We had to take it from someone. That's that was our fathers, you know. So I mean, and then baseball bats. We have to climb a tree and find one of the straightest branches that we can find and cut it and just shape it up with the machete that we have, and that was our bats. And actually, we have a lot of gloves though, because we find a lot of cardboard boxes, and that was our glove. So we were creative, you know. So I mean, definitely we didn't have nothing, but we have everything. And that's what kids now, they're so caught up. I mean, I'm telling you, man, this technology and phone, it's great. I don't have no problem against that, but it's impacting a lot in our youth, in our children, because they don't want to go out.
Not creative.
Not creative enough.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Herschel?
You know, I think the barrier I faced at first was low self-esteem, and then I think isolation. I think that when you, and that's why I said I think the council is so important, because it get kids active, and it not gonna isolate the athletic kids from just a kid that's active. And for me, I didn't grow up watching sports. I didn't grow up wanting to be an athlete. That just happened to fall upon me. And so I think the isolation, because sometimes athletes doesn't think education goes along with it. But I grew up in a family that education was very important. And so if you're educated, your athlete's not gonna like you. And if you're a sport, the educator is not gonna like you. So it was almost that I was isolated a lot. But then I learned that the two can combine, because through activities, your grade point level will rise. And I think you have to then explain that to others. And I think that was one of the biggest barriers I faced at first. And because I'm not your typical sports guy. Yes, most of all my training has been done from me reading books. You know, all my training that I've done is not from the ordinary type of workouts. They're workouts that I've sort of created. And that's why my hat is off to Mario here, because I think kids today are not active enough. They're not creative enough. And we're taking that creativity away from them by giving them so much. Whereas I think we got to keep the mind moving. And I think athletics does that.
Great. Thank you for sharing. So based on what you've most recently witnessed, you're both fathers to kids who play sports. What do you foresee as the biggest barriers for youth today? I know that you mentioned technology. So can you expand on
I think one of the biggest barriers I see of kids today is they have the pay to play. Right. You know, most kids today, parents cannot afford to pay for a kid, you know, $400 or $500 a month for a kid to participate in sports. And then the places where kids to go and do activities. I also feel, you know, as little kids, I remember going out on a jungle gym, playing on a jungle gym, and I thought that was playing, but now I found out that was activities. You know, the jungle gym is what they're doing in American Ninja today. That's so. So I think that's the problem today is kids today are not active because of the social media world. And I think with my son, one of the things that we put in place is for every hour every 30 minutes you're on your iPhone or your iPad, is 30 minutes of physical activity you have to do. So it's up to you. If you want to be on for 3 hours, you got to do 3 hours of physical activity doing something. And my son, you know, I was a football player. I ran track where my son was an incredible track guy. But he decided he wanted to do competitive cheerleading. And I said, as long as you're active. And I at first, you know, cheerleading, I was like, what? And but then by being a father, getting involved, I saw that competitive cheerleading was very difficult. I thought it was harder than football. And so I think parents getting involved with your child is very, very important. But also adults getting involved with kids, because some kids do not have a parent, a mother or father. So I don't think I want to leave that kid behind. I want to be involved with him as well.
Amen. And I wanted to add a little bit more of that, because he said it, Walker said it perfect. He said sometimes our parents are not active enough with their child. You know, I mean, their child most of the time go to the field alone. And parents are sitting down in their house doing whatever they wanted to do while they sending. You don't know where your kid's going. You know, you don't know if your kid gets to the field. You don't know that. You know, and obviously, you know, paying now, I mean, to play sport, you have to pay. You know, it's not right, and there's no fields. Every field is private. You know, it's no property or places where the kids can go and play. You know, now they have to, sometimes school have some place, but school hours finish, they close the school, and you cannot go to school to play.
A prime example, I was playing in a golf tournament. Not that I'm a great golfer. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, playing in a golf tournament, and there was 3 African-American little kids playing. And I need to tell Natalie about this. I was absolutely amazed at how great those kids were. And I started talking to them, why are you guys not playing at some academy, at some place? And they said that they cannot afford a coach. And I was totally shocked that these 3 kids, and this is no, I've never seen 3 young kids play. I put in a thing on, these kids could play in college today, and they were in elementary school. They could play in college today. That's how good they were. And I decided that I'm going to put a program together to pay for their coach. And I think those are the barriers that kids have, is they can't afford in today's society to participate in sports. They can't afford to go to a gym. They can't afford to do certain things because of everything is a cost today.
Thank you. So my final question is, what actions would you like to see from the council to begin to break down some of these barriers? And how do you see us being most effective?
You know, I think some of the things I like to see the council do is try to find different things to incentivize parents and kids to get active. And I think in doing that is finding a way to make it more feasible to have areas where kids could go and exercise, having it. And at the same time, we have a big task because we're competing against the social media world. And you know, kids feel that exercise is using their avatar. Their avatar can exercise for them, and no, that doesn't work. But I think having an opportunity to show, and I think we all on the council has to be a living sacrifice and not just talk this, but we have to live it as well. And I think we also must remember that physical activity is not the only thing. It also your nutrition, which I should say that because my nutrition is a little different, but I think everything plays a role. Nutrition and physical activity is a role in getting a kid fit.
I agree on that. And yes, creating programs where they're feasible, you know, more where people can afford and get those kids to be involved in sport. That's to me, that's one of the biggest issues that we're facing right now. And we need to create some programs and something where they either pay or they either don't pay, or if they're gonna pay, something will be such a small amount of money that they have to pay for them to play. They shouldn't be playing pitch. I mean, they shouldn't be paying at all. You know, we need to create places where they just come and have fun. You know what I mean? Because I mean, again, you know, they need to be active. They are, while they spending 3, 4, 5 hours on those games in the house, you know, that bring into the eating habits of eating the wrong things at the same time. And so, I mean, I think that the council can create places where they can go and get dirty and sweat and be able to like it, because right now I find that kids don't want to be outside. They don't like to play. They'd rather be home and sitting in that couch and get overweight.
Well, thank you. You both have some great ideas, and gentlemen, thank you for a great discussion. I think that you've provided a great perspective and also made some great points. So, and are just the type of leaders that this council needs to make an impact like never before. So thank you both again.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think that this would be the perfect time to learn more about our council members, all of you. So council members, let's go around the U. Please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your backgrounds.
Good morning, everyone. I'm a retired Master Sergeant Rob Wilkins from the United States Air Force. Go Air Force. I'm really honored to be a part of the council because I'm living the lifestyle of the council, what our goals and mission are. I have a son who plays travel football, travel basketball. He's got his black belt in Taekwondo. He plays the viola. And I think the part of, and he's also an honor roll student. And I think a lot of his success comes from being an athlete because he has discipline. He faces challenges. He wants to be challenged and all, but I think he learned a lot of that on the athletic field. And as a former member of the Air Force or the military, I understand that mission readiness comes through being physically fit. Our country is safe because our men and women are fit. Without a fit force, we can't fight our adversaries. So the things that we're going to do on this council are going to be really important to help us get the next military members. You know, about 70% of our country, the young boys and girls, cannot join our military right now because of lack of physical fitness or obesity-related diseases, and that's just not acceptable. So we have to find ways to get these young boys and girls active. How do we get them inspired to get into the gyms, or not a gym? Maybe it's just walking around and jumping rope and doing push-ups. And that will come from their parents, I hope. If it's not their parents, a role model. And sometimes it's the younger kids or, you know, teenagers who they look up to who can help inspire them. So again, I'm honored to be here. I look forward to working with all of these, my distinguished colleagues here. And again, go Air Force.
Good morning. My name is Ashley Lundvall. I live in Cody, Wyoming. Excited to be here with you all this morning. I am a motivational speaker and disability advocate. Was injured in a ranching accident when I was 16 years old, and at the time was a four-sport athlete. And so I had to learn very quickly how to adapt my life in order to stay independent and stay active. Have been able to continue that passion over the last 20 years. Was Miss Wheelchair USA in 2013, and my platform was all about accessible outdoor recreation. And so I've found out very quickly, as a mother, as well as a woman living with a disability, how important it is for people to stay active regardless of their ability level. And so excited to bring that passion to the committee and help break down barriers for children of all abilities in order to stay as active as possible. Thank you.
I'm a physician and surgeon, and I've been world medical chairman for the sport of bodybuilding and fitness for over 30 years. So I've overseen the sports and fitness programs in over 190 countries during that time, as well as chairman founder of the AFRM, which is the largest preventive medicine educational organization. Education is so key, and that's really a key cornerstone for what the council is involved in. As an athlete, I'm a 7th degree black belt in Tang Soo Do, 6th degree black belt in Shotokan Karate, hold over 20 world strength records. So I understand from the athlete perspective, and to be with Herschel and Mario and all these great athletes together, it's like I'm back home again. I was just at the Mr. Olympia last weekend, and with all the crazy, my martial arts buddies beating each other up in Hong Kong just last week. You really have such an amazing group of people. I was so impressed when we all got together, some of which we knew each other, some of which we knew of each other. And I think under the leadership of Holli and her team, I think that this is going to make some really significant impact. And I should tell you that Herschel Walker was the 212 inductee into the International Sports Hall of Fame, which I've founded, and we pick athletes who are not only world champions, remarkable athletes, and he is one remarkable athlete, but also those that give back. That's the key to being a great person and a true athlete. It's you teach your craft, you share what you know, and you give back, because when you give, you get, and the greatest way to find yourself is in the service of others, and that's what all these people are involved with.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Nan Hayworth. I'm a board-certified ophthalmologist, and I had the privilege of serving the Hudson Valley of New York in the United States House of Representatives. And I've also been blessed to raise 2 children. And it is an incredible privilege to be, as Rob just said, among champions. And yesterday, as Herschel mentioned, we had a remarkable visit with the Washington Nationals Youth Baseball Academy, and to meet a generation of young people who are living the mission and vision of this council with the support and mentorship of their community. And that is to enable them, and that's the whole idea of sports, fitness, and nutrition. Mens sana in corpore sano, a sound mind in a sound body, and they do go together. So it's a privilege to be able to work with an amazing group of people to help perpetuate that model that we saw yesterday, a community that is actively mentoring and supporting its young people in every form with their studies, with sports and athletic activities, with the right way to live life in a fit and sound way, and to help prepare the next generation, as Rob said, of strong Americans to fulfill their dreams and to build our great country evermore. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting the work of the council, and let's get going.
Good morning, and it's also an honor to be here with this council today. My name is Brenda Becker, and I've served and worked in the healthcare industry for over 30 years. I currently work at Boston Scientific, worked previously for the Bush administration, and then for Blue Cross Blue Shield for 20 years. But most importantly, I'm a parent of 2 athletes, as well as I was a coach for my daughter's basketball team, much to her dismay, many days. I've also served on the board of my children's schools and as assistant athletic director there. And I think when I look at all that past experience, especially where I've worked, is that we need to do something more preventative and on the front side. It's great to save patients' lives, but they're patients, and that means they're sick. So I'm very committed to and passionate about this council and getting more people active, especially our youth. My father was a coach, so I grew up in the gym. My summer vacations were football camp, Herschel. And so I've always been active. I was on my bike this morning working out before I got here. So I'm very passionate about this and very excited to work with this council. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Very, very happy to be here. I want to thank Secretary Azar and Holli Richmond for all the help they've given us for getting the council together and making this such a great kickoff. To be amongst this group is truly an honor. I am, again, Linda Yacarino. I'm chairman of advertising at NBC Universal, and I have the fortunate opportunity to work with great brands like the NBC network, our Spanish language network, Telemundo, and have the opportunity to work a lot with leagues like the NFL, the NHL, the Olympics, golf, soccer. So I'm able to see firsthand the impact and the inspiration that organized sports creates in our country, and the impact it can have if we're only able to give access to every child to be able to participate in youth sports. It's really, truly what inspired me to be able to join the council, and I think that's what we're all here to do. I am the mother of 2 competitive athletes, 1 gymnast in my daughter, and 1 hockey player who played for my alma mater, Penn State. Go Nittany Lions, since that seems to be a thing this morning. So I've been able to see the real impact that it had in maturing them as young adults, as they approach their professional lives, but the impact on their confidence, their self-esteem, their ability to navigate life every single day as they've gotten older. And it is my true honor to contribute and participate. So thank you very much.
My name's Jim Worthington. Clearly, this is the highlight of my career, getting on the President's Council. I've been in the fitness industry 40 years. I'd like to say that I've been on the front line, working with people on Main Street. I got involved in the industry when it really even wasn't an industry. If you think back 40 years ago, people were working out in garages and so on and so forth. So that tells you how old I am. My particular interest in the 40 years has been to change people's lives, to make people's lives better. And the vehicle in which I've done that is my club, which is the Newtown Athletic Club, which happens to be one of the largest health club lifestyle centers in the country, accommodating 12,000 members. And that's been a kind of an experimental process for me, growing it over the years from a small business to 15,000 square feet to a 250,000 square foot health wellness facility on 25 acres. So we've impacted a lot of lives, and more recently I've been honored with becoming the chairman of the largest global trade association in the world, IRSA, whose mission is to grow, promote, and protect the global fitness industry and get more people active. And as you all well know, we have a global obesity crisis as well as a United States obesity crisis. So our goal is to try to change that and get people more active, particularly youth. And it starts with youth. And the reality is that exercise is medicine. And as soon as we figure out that getting people active is really the way to solve our healthcare crisis, that would be best for our country and something will make America much better. So thank you. It's been a great experience so far, and I appreciate being part of this.
Good morning. My name is Natalie Golbus. I am a professional golfer of 18 years on the LPGA. I am very, very excited to be on this board and want to thank Holli and Secretary Azar for including me. And as you can see, the energy, the expertise, and the experience that this board is combined with is really just impressive. You should see the first couple of meetings that we've had, the energy, the combination of ideas that are flowing, and I'm really looking forward to being part of it. But a little bit more about me is that I played on a boys team in high school, which is always uniquely interesting to people, being a female golfer. And throughout my career, my greatest accomplishment has been opening up the Natalie Golbus Boys and Girls Club in 2010. So I've been able to see firsthand the impact of sports, fitness, nutrition has had on these kids, not only at my club, but throughout the other clubs that I've visited and been able to be involved with. So I'm really looking forward to getting to work and to getting that national strategy. And I'm excited for you guys to see what we're going to be able to accomplish.
Hi, I'm Trevor Drinkwater. I actually started my career in '88 selling water, so last name Drinkwater was interesting. I was there for a while. Spent about 10 years there and then got into the entertainment business, and I've been an entrepreneur for about the last 15 years. Last 5 years or so, my company, Inclusion Companies, is focused on helping companies amplify their corporate responsibility initiatives, and we work hard to convene big companies with resources and celebrity advocates to move initiatives forward. We have 2 events that we manage. One is a film festival that's focused on diversity and inclusion. It's all about championing inclusion in all forms of media. And the second is a festival that's focused on health and wellness. It's primarily a music festival, but we focus on both mental and physical health. And so I'm really excited to be on this council to hopefully bring some resources together to really drive this these initiatives forward. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you all for sharing your backgrounds. It's really exciting to see such diverse backgrounds coming to the table. You're all going to bring something different to make the largest impact possible. So thank you all. Let's go ahead and give a big round of applause to our new President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. As Lauren mentioned earlier, if you need to use the restroom, they are located right outside the door in the small corridor. And if you need to leave the building, please find a volunteer to escort you to the lobby. Thank you.
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services at taxpayer expense.